I'm going to get into trouble with YouTube. Hold on a second. Which page is it? It's over here. Oh, boy. Well, hopefully we didn't get into trouble there. We'll see what happens. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Yeah, kind of a fun start to a daily brief. Actually, this isn't a daily brief. This is the weekend. Actually, we're allowed to kind of mess around because it's the weekend. It's the Broiler Chicken Show. Bark, 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 bark. Hello, everybody. As you can see, we just had a new school term start, so it's understandable to get sort of a flood of messages. But at the same time, too, I really love the camaraderie of the group. Everybody's working together. And I noticed in the lounge, and the one of the reasons actually why I wanted to do the video this morning was because I see the whole reason why I wanted to do this site was I know that collectively a group of people are far more powerful than any sort of one individual put on their own. And I watched I participated in a prop firm. I worked for a prop firm for a while, a few years ago, before we started this site. And what really impressed me was in their chat room, how the group of people all sort of collectively work together to at least try and help each other. And the one thing I didn't like about the prop firm, which really pissed me off, was that there were higher ups that knew how to behave, but nobody there said boo. And it really disappointed me. Or you can, I suppose, I guess the point of this sort of start of this is I'm seeing this interaction in the chat room. And, we have a new level 1 group started up. So, those guys are all rocking it in their chat room this morning. Got to say right off the bat, Grim, fantastic job. Very level-headed, very calm, very methodical, very perfect instructor for you guys in the level 1. And I think he's going to knock the cover off the ball. So I feel like all of you are in good hands. And then, of course, you got Brian lecturing you. So now, interestingly enough, you guys might start hearing 2 different voices in your sleep. It used to be like students would always tell me. I knew I got to them when they would actually tell me that they start hearing my voice in their sleep. Now, that's when Brian's got to you. But anyway, so congratulations to the level 1ers. Way to go, rock on. They are off and running. But what I see, just even for the basic chat room members lounge is a great sort of collective. Hey guys, I got this idea. What do you think? Hey guys, I got that idea. What do you think? And I got to tell you, some people that sort of post ideas in there, I look at it and I go, fuck man, I better get a bid working. I mean, it's just great ideas. It's so good that and what I would like, actually that's a good. Zach has a good question. What's Grim like on 2 times speed? The Wookiee. the Wookiee chickmunk, I guess. Anyway, so it's another day, exciting day on the site. Having a lot of fun working with new people to the site and existing people. I think we have to understand, especially if we're crypto enthusiasts, that the market state, unfortunately, for crypto has changed since January. And cycle-wise, I was seeing earlier in the year predictions of a trough in sort of the summer. Those predictions have been kind of muted of late. I haven't really seen like predictions of collapse, but I definitely think that we're in sort of a soft period here for Bitcoin. If I'm not mistaken, I think seasonally it likes to bottom somewhere, beginning of summer. Mind you, I do remember, 2014, we actually went sideways through the summer and then finally had our trough into the end of the year. So, I actually it would be really cool to find seasonality studies on Bitcoin. The message that I give on these broiler chicken show, because I always like to just sort of take that like 10,000 foot view of Bitcoin just to begin with. And usually when I do these for the public, I think it's good just to sort of put price into context. We've talked lots recently about how, in my opinion, these two white lines basically define, our trading range. And it also feels to me like we're building towards some sort of apex here. We can just draw a nice simple triangle. Usually these things, there's what they like to call a coil. If you've never seen this this is very normal for asset prices. Unfortunately, this isn't the makings of a bottom, right? If anything, you've probably heard me talk about saucer bottoms. If this ultimately is the base, then really what we want is the bottom to sort of look something like this. So I think there's still a bit more time to go before we can, call a bottom in crypto. And for the time being, my expectations are just simply a test of either end of this range. I do like, on a shorter time basis, we didn't really set up a trade here. I was a little disappointed in myself that I didn't have a little bit more aggressive, sort of short hunting up here. But nonetheless, we have come off. And, Julian's running his RSI model, and he likes to put on hedges to try and cover our short exposure. And I think he got a half decent one off here recently as we're sort of pushing against these lows. This was a V bottom. It was a nice little inside bar. Clothesline basis, you can really see the V, right? V, and then another V. So we really should. Well, that's good. Windows just told me it did not find any disasters on my computer. But just remind you, Windows is still your computer. Thank you, Windows. I appreciate that. Isn't that funny how Windows does that? Anyway, V's by nature need to be tested. It's just, I very rarely ever see a just straight V bottom straight up. Usually it has to have some sort of structure to it, WWM. So, the fact that we had a V top and now we have V bottom, you had to expect that either of these are going to be tested. I would have thought actually there was a bit more upside here. I think, like stories about, what's the trustee in Japan's name? He's got anyway, we'll probably all get to know him really well by the end of all this. But I think, his sort of selling kind of put the kibosh on the rally, which kind of sucks, but it's just the way trading goes. We come back down testing these lows, and until we get some actual serious anecdotal evidence that these lows have been tested and the market's reversing, I think that's as much as we can take away from that, right? We might have some sort of action like this where you have a week or two up against these lows, and then, Jesus, we broke the lows, so the trend basically confirms that it's still heading down. So, let's see how it goes. And then when we look at the lower time frames, there are some interesting battles going on here. And, as a risk taker in the marketplace, I think it's really important for us to always remember that it's only when we come in against lows where, the bull stopped the bear, right? Price was heading down and somebody said, no more down, you go up. And actually, in our level 2 course, we start off with just sort of what does, when you look at a price chart, what matters? Does any of this crap in the middle here really matter to us? Not really. The only thing that really matters is where that supply and demand dynamic changed, right? Here was that level right there. Let's make this. There we go. Oh, yeah. Jesus, isn't that weird? It's so dark. Oh, well, no big deal. So that level right there. And conversely, right? This level right here, hugely important level where the bull was stopped by the bear. So interestingly enough, as traders, this actually represents a pretty important level in the marketplace. And if you're going to take a risk, right, to actually be able to identify where you're going to enter versus where you know your thesis is going to be proved wrong, this is actually where traders trade. You know, if you're going to take a long shot, at least now you know where you're going to be proven wrong. And what really bothered me, you know, of course, in the fall when price was zooming up and everybody was just, you know, going to get rich and we were never going to stop going up. The question is, if you bought up here, where do you have to actually expect market to find support? And gee whiz, that's right against these lows. And that's basically where the market stopped. So, you know, the point of the matter here is I can completely understand people wanting to take a long shot in here. And if you're going to take a long shot, this is where you're supposed to take it. And of course, you know, big green boxes, this is a reload zone. If you're, you know, the interesting thing I would say, and I think this is really important for the audience to understand, is you know, if you've seen me do this countless of times on altcoins. There's no reason why we should look at Bitcoin any differently than like any of our altcoin ideas. And if you can just force yourself not to buy top up markets and force yourself to concentrate on reload zones, interesting enough, it dips into these areas against these lows anywhere in this green box. Technically, I don't really have a problem with like little old ladies calling me up on the phone as a broker and saying, well, Brian, I heard my nephew says he likes Bitcoin and here it is at $5,700 or whatever. What do you think? I would say, I don't have a problem. You want to go throw a couple percent of your portfolio in here and just take a nibble? Go for it. Totally fine by me. So I think we have to put that into the context of the conversation. This is going to be a grind, but I would argue for the long-term investors, anytime we get into these higher time frame green boxes, this is now when you should be accumulating this asset, not aggressively shorting it. And we've seen countless times when we get into green boxes and short setups come in and you get bitch slapped and you're like, what the fuck, man? So, you know, be cognizant of that. You could even argue, you know, we could do fibs here. This is a reload zone within a reload zone within a reload zone right here. So I can completely understand people justifying taking long shots off lower time frames. So as well too, you know, and I've been sort of mulling this over recently. The question ultimately here is, what are the catalysts going forward? Markets, I've been doing this for 30 years, guys. 30 years, guys. Sorry, I'm just being silly. And I've always noticed that this thing sort of needs something to move into. And I just wonder, what is the next sort of thing that's on the sort of docket? And is it a positive thing or is it potentially a negative thing? And we just had our sort of crypto rah-rah orgy in New York. I don't know whether we're going to have anything of that equivalency over the next little while. I do know that in July, there's a pretty big G20 conference that back in the last G20 conference that we all watched really closely, they just sort of mused about Bitcoin and they all agreed, okay, well, we're going to create these task force and they will submit their official report on the July meeting. So I do think we have that staring us in the face. And I think it's actually in crypto's best interest, ironically enough, to be weak into that event, right? And so where is that event on this thing? That's basically the first week of July. What's interesting about that too is that, you know, all the level 3ers, they just did their study of seasonalities, and it turns out that you know, the sell in May and walk away, the market loves to pivot into the end of June, beginning of July. And also, too, I thought it was really interesting. Someone mentioned, I think it was in the lounge earlier that their birthdays around the end of June, I think it was, and they noticed that Bitcoin loves to pivot around their birthday. They noticed that happened, I think, last year or something. So put it all together, and I'm kind of thinking that, we've got sort of a fundamental window for an event to happen. If the market can pivot through this reload zone and hold these lows, then I think maybe we coil here and this event happens. And then on that, the end of that event, we see our sort of trend identification. And of course, all of us bulls, we would absolutely love to see the market just do something like that. And away we go, new bull market, rah, rah, rah. And reload zones up here, really, it wouldn't be shocking. That's one scenario. I could also see, and we're going to have to really watch how price behaves through here, right? I could very easily see us, come down to the line in the sand. Maybe take out this key pivot low and come play against some of these lows. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Joshua's been hunting a gap, and we should probably put this on Sen's script over here. Where should we do that? And are you guys enjoying this? Is this a value, or am I just rambling? Someone give me direction, or I'll just keep rambling all day. Okay, thank you, Casey. And it's too bad because I don't want to lose that. That's such a pretty chart. I mean, look at that. It's so textbook, everything that we do. Fuck me. And it just goes to show there's always a bull somewhere. So I'm just teasing you guys here. Oh, Brian's going to be all fucking doom and gloom. Well, not really. You just have to understand what, a good looking chart looks like and be able to take advantage of it. And it's interesting. I had this saved as Christian's Pepsi trade, and so I don't want to lose that either. Oh goodness, crazy world. And it's set to all this. Oh, wonderful. Just keeps getting better and better. So do I have set as a default? I think it's a template. Template, boom. All right, so there's Sen's grabbed. And we'll go like that. And then we'll go BTC USD. I think he said it was on stamp. Let's see what we got here. Seems to be quite a few gaps, eh? Okay, let's see. This action here filled in a lot of gaps. So it filled in there. Didn't fill that in. That's been filled in. So there might be, well, actually, I guess that's there to there. That might have been filled in that day there. And then you can see there's still some funny bananas over there. So going forward here, we had a gap here. Oh, and that's 7,600. Okay, so all that's been taken care of. Just thinking anything down in here. Right there. Oh, that's that same one. Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder if this gap has been filled. There it is. Oh, yeah, it has. Yeah. All right, so that's off the table. Actually, stamp looks relatively clean. Actually, it doesn't look bad. This down action here cleaned out a lot. No, where was that? That was here. That cleaned out a lot. So the question would be, is there any gaps in here? There, back here. Down gap. Down gap. Doesn't look like it, eh? Okay, so stamp's clean. Not bad. That's been filled in. That's been filled in. Yeah, actually it looks okay. All right. Maybe let's pop on over, take a look at Phoenix. Boom. I wonder where Joshua is, because I remember he said there was a gap down in that area somewhere. Okay, so where are we now? We are well, I guess gap, gap. Oops, that's all done. So anything here? Gap filled, gap filled, gap. Oh, okay. So Phoenix has a gap right here. So this is all hell breaks loose gap, I guess, right? Oh, right in there. 4,300. All right. Well, so any of you gap hunters, I definitely think there is a mark here on Phoenix. Right there. There she is. So if all hell breaks loose, 44.35, that's probably an excellent level to be thinking about working a bit on Phoenix. Where's that? Okay, so that's right against this support. So you can see what's happened here on Phoenix. See this dip right into this zone? So actually, this is such a good example of the institutional fingerprint. Dun, dun, dun. So let's go like that. And we'll go that. So you got there to there, right? There's your institutional fingerprint. So the top of it is right there. Let's maybe make that like blue. So the top of it's right there, and the bottom of it is right there. And let's see what happened. Oh, look at that, eh? So you can see anytime it dips into this must be a level that Goldman defended. But do you see how that works? That sort of horizontal support and resistance, institutional fingerprint kind of concept. Man, that's cool, eh? And you could argue the same thing happened here, eh? So not only they stopped the bull or they stopped the bear here, and you could argue that they stopped the bear there as well, eh? So the bottom of that and the top, there to there. This is definitely an institutional zone, eh? And look how when they brought it right down in here, they just stopped it. So, looking at that chart, I got to think that there's some serious support in here. Oh, look at that juicy tail right in there. And then there's a nice gap. Oh, look at that. Look, isn't that interesting? Look at the profile. It looks like that, eh? So you can kind of see the case to be made for a nice dip. And I'm telling you guys, it actually would be interesting if we just did like a fib off the whole range. I bet you this is like a total like 78, 78.6. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, perfect. Man, I don't even know what the low that is. That's 400. I mean, geez, you could probably just go to 0. Let's go 0.1. Oh, it didn't do it. Jerks. 0.1. Is that not going to work? 10 cents? There we go. Look at that, eh? So, and, if anything, this makes perfect sense too. Mr. Gann would say that the most natural correction for this market would be 0, right? Absolute 0 plus the all-time high. So not a big surprise. Can you see how the market sort of oscillates all right around that level? So you can see now that level actually is acting as resistance. That's probably your bull bear line case. And, if we think Gann, right, 45-degree angle, you could probably also do this over sort of time, Now, because you're going to 0, when do you actually start this? That's a tough one. Do you use the base here, $150? Actually, that's probably the smart thing to do. So we go like there. So that's that 160 or whatever that low was. There's sort of your mid pivot. And then because that's a time reference, what do I want to do here? And I'm just having fun. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Just sort of charting charts, having fun, messing around. Right. So that is 503 days. If we think of Mr. Gann, actually, did I do that right? No, I did that wrong, didn't I? Grabbed the wrong tool. Sorry. Let's try that again. Date range. That's what we want. All right. So from bottom to top, 1,000 bars. So own that. 500 bars. 530. Something like that. Would be about half. So we're probably looking, like if we did 45-degree angle, it should come down something like that. If we had the scale right. Bunch is probably, actually, we were talking about the saucer bottom earlier. You might even see that. This is probably going to be the pivot, right? About halfway, but here. Let's go, what's that? 250, 260 or so, something like that, roughly. So, yeah, whatever, something like that. My hunch is probably going to be like, you can kind of see the saucer bottom forming. Like there, to there, to there. Like that. So that's probably what we're looking at. Be interesting to see if the market can recover very quickly. It's going to take some time for this thing to clean itself up. I think that's probably, I don't know whether this has to go like to there. Correction has to be 50%. That's probably more accurate, right? That's, I guess, what Mr. Gann would be thinking. Something along those lines. I guess maybe something. See, and I guess that would be a healthy move, right? Just to the 50% rule. How deep we go. But Mr. Gann would basically say take, half of this distance for the bull, and that's probably going to be your bear. And they usually say that bear markets are 18 months in duration, 18 to 24 months. So 528 bars, that would be like, yeah, that would be somewhere right between 18 and 24 months, wouldn't it? 600 and, well, one year is 365. So 2 years is 720. So that's probably out here somewhere. That's 2 years. So that's probably just actually about a year and a half, eh? And, if we do the same sort of logic, you can sort of see it here. If we went, and I don't know whether this is the most appropriate. Let's see what this actually looked like. So 227 bars. I would have thought that the bear would have been half that. So that's like 110. Look at that. So it was 120 to there. And then it was 400. Isn't that interesting? So the bear was actually twice the duration of the bull. Maybe we should be taking it off of there too. What is the ultimate low? Anyway, just having some fun musing. So, I think it makes sense. If you are a little old lady and you are investing in these names, once we get into these green boxes, you can start nibbling away to your heart's content. I would hate to have to see it, but it is completely realistic that the market has to work its way all the way back down to the original breakout. Don't be shocked, people, if that's what has to happen here. The market will do what it will do. And really, as I said before, until we actually start seeing some serious signs of turn higher here, like these weekly W's, probably if we change this to weekly, like I showed you a moment ago. If this thing starts weekly Wing in here, then hey, we can start thinking bull. Until that happens, we just have to play it cool, and Julian's been coming on going, the trend is down until the trend turns back up. I can't take trades. And frankly speaking, I'd have to agree with him in that if you try to trade against the stream, if you try and against the trend, if you try to swim against the tide, if you try to sail into the wind, it's tough sledding. I'll tell you that much. It is very difficult sledding. So with regard to Bitcoin itself, I'd be relatively cautious. The good part about price right now, though, is sort of what is the downside risk. And interestingly enough, we're actually getting into areas where, obviously it's going to be back and forth. But even still, if we had to dip down, fill the gap in here, line in the sand, that's $4,500 somewhere around there. So 7,300, we're not talking like the thing's going off the board, right? That's like maybe 50% haircut. I don't want to use those numbers, but it is possible. If you have sort of an average cost for your Bitcoins in and around this area and you're just accumulating over time, ironically enough, and you've seen this on a lot of my altcoins, we're probably going to be doing this kind of stuff. And, there are people, and I can totally empathize. There are some people that are thinking we're going to do something like this. So the point here is I would be less concerned, especially if you're a crypto enthusiast, I'd be less concerned about, actually buying Bitcoins through this window than if you had come to me up here, right? And you had to go through this. This is, concerning, heartburning. Actually buying Bitcoins all through this area, I actually don't think I have a problem with that. And, we see what happens during these halving events. I mean, I would argue that's exactly what this rally was predicated on. And of course, Wall Street coming and maybe a little political influence, pushed it to extremes, but, also to cyclical factors, fear, cycle, blah, blah, blah. But the great part about Bitcoin is, it's finite supply and it's got basically built-in halving. And what's so cool is, we can get all wrapped up in Bitcoin, but let's take a look at what Litecoin did during its halving. And the irony of it all is the chart looks almost exactly the same. You guys remember that? Is anybody around during the Ponzi? That was remarkable. Oops. That was somewhere around in here. Yeah, that was this rally. Does that kind of look familiar? Does the Bitcoin chart just slightly kind of look like that? So, and this was from like $1.50 to $8.50. I mean, this could be a 1,500 Bitcoin up to like 15, 20,000. Same logic. It's not really a hell of a lot of difference. So the great part about it is that these halving events are basically built in, and that's why I feel very confident that, if you are an investor in Bitcoin, and sadly, through these kind of periods, this is when we find out whether, what people's intentions are. A lot of people come to this space and they just sort of like, hey, I want to get rich quick, right? And they don't realize this is hard work and it's, it's mentally taxing, and you have to force yourself to take the opposite side of the public, right? Buying Joshua's gaps, that kind of stuff. Reload zones. That's the and doesn't it is interesting too that if you asked any sort of person on the street in the public, about Bitcoin here, they'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll buy it right now. The interesting thing is, I bet if you went on the public and you asked, people, especially following the conference resolution there and the the pullback since, oh, do you want to buy Bitcoin? I bet you they'd be like, oh, I don't know, it's a little sketchy. That's just my hunch. I don't know for certain on that. But anyway, the point of the matter here is that's the kind of sentiment, of course, that does make for good investing. If you believe in the long-term story. I'm a full believer in Bitcoin. I'm just, you don't need to convince me. So if anything, like I said, through the FUD and the next couple months, it could get kind of ugly out there into this July event. I'd actually be encouraging people who didn't participate through any of this to finally step up and pull the trigger. They may not get that opportunity. As I said, sort of to start this conversation off, let's let the market tell us what it's going to do. We're coming into support here. Maybe the market puts in a really nice little W here, and away we go. But let's really watch. This area here is going to be a really important test for Bitcoin over the short term. And like I said earlier, this is the hard part about trading. The actual professionals, they are actually stepping up, and they're willing to step into the fray and buy against these lows. But if these lows are broken, then they're gone, because it gives them a very specific risk window. They know exactly what the risk on the trade is. And that's what a professional is all about. If they're right and this thing does W and take off, the rewards can be substantially higher. Remember we did that on where was it? It was Thomas's Litecoin trade. Remember that? Why don't I have that chart on here? Zcash, maybe. Nope, not that one. Yeah, here. Remember I talked to you guys last week, and look at it, it's still working. This is really going to test their resolve, right? We'll see whether they got the kahunas to hang in here. But, the interesting thing is this is actually not a bad place to take your shot. Nobody's rah bull, right? Nobody's, right? And yet this is actually where I would argue that the smart money is in there nibbling. And so when Thomas told me that he was in here on the buy side, I was like, well, duh. That doesn't surprise me. But it might be very difficult for new people to trading to grasp that. It takes a while to figure out that this is actually a really attractive trade location. Use, the things like reload zones, they're nice visual pictures. Use the reload zones to try and help you visually sort of mentally see why, Brian likes his line in the sand. And you can kind of see that W is trying desperately to form. If it comes in here, I might even go buy some. 3 reasons for a trade. You got like super sexy trade location here. If anything, what we probably want to do at this point is go down and why don't we sort of go through this? And this is why I like this trade so much. I think that was versus US dollars, wasn't it? I think it was. Uh-oh, somebody's barking at me. Brian, you talk too much. When are you going to look at the market? Jeez, he's great. You're killing me. All right. Well, anyway, I don't know whether this is the trade or not. I think it was like well, here, I think it was like Tether, wasn't it? But just, just for hypothetical, we use the same chart. Tether, where's the damn Tether? USDT, right? There it is. All right. So at this point, for all those new to trading, trying to see if they've got a setup, now that we've come into this awesome trade location, what do we want to do next? Ideally, 3 reasons for a trade. We'd love to see like signs of divergence. So it is interesting. We pull up the price chart, and I've got, a couple of the indicators that I teach in the program. So you can see the MACD is, it's trying to make higher lows and higher highs through here. It's tough. I think you could have anticipated one here, but it wasn't very crisp. I do like the crispness of this one that's coming in here. But I suppose you could argue to a certain degree this is what we might call double divergence. So you've got this divergence that's set up off of here to here. Right? You can see the W. And then you've got this bigger divergence, which is set up off of here, this bigger W. Here to here to here. And it hasn't confirmed yet. Right? So I think if and when that does confirm, you got like double divergence. Ooh, super sexy. Really just hunting that structure. Notice also too, we got Willie nice and stupid. And it looks like Willie's trying to form a W down in here. We always like to see that. You got a nice breakout through that moving average, confirming that W. Super sexy. Look how it did it here. Can you see how it did that there? You can even see the original bottom. W breakout through the moving average. W breakout through the moving average. I mean, that's sex-alicious. So you can see the anecdotal evidence is building. We've got trade location. We talked about reload zones. All that kind of fun stuff. Boom, right? That's the line in the sand. Look at that. And I often see this, guys. Zach, you ever heard me say this before? That you'll ultimately see that the line in the sand, you'll actually see down the road, it might lose the line in the sand, but down the road, I see this happen so often that the market will actually ultimately put the W in right off the line in the sand. And so you can see down, up, right off the 78.6, down. Do we want to break? Do we want to break? This thing pops up. That's going to confirm a W there. You heard in your sleep. Good comeback. So again, just eyeballing this, I guess I've been doing this game so long. Like I said, when I heard Thomas say, well, I decided to take a shot against these lows. Well, it just makes sense. That's what professionals do. If you want a little bit more anecdotal evidence, 3 reasons for a trade, right? We can see that Willie is stupid. I always like that. We can see there is actually a divergence working here, and there's a bigger one trying to confirm, which give us 2 divergences. We can also see that on this move down, the bearish volume is actually dropping off. You see that? Higher volume, lower volume, right? On these red bars. One might argue, 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs. If we get a red bar that's below whatever the lowest low is in here, and this here, it says 1,840 coins. This is on a daily basis. If we get a down bar that trades less than that 1,840, it means the bears have officially gone to sleep. And look how close this is, 2.9, 2.7, 1.5. So nobody's going, oh, this is 1.8, isn't it? So potentially the bears might just fall asleep here today, giving the bulls if they want to take the ball, they got the permission. We can also see too, though, that on any kind of up action, and you can really see 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs. Low volume through here. This is a breakout to new highs. Can you see the volume divergence? Let's see if there's anybody new here. Matt, do I know you? Your picture looks kind of new. Nymanon. N-Y Manon. Do I know you? How about Alex? I don't know whether I know you, Alex. Wakey, wake up, everybody. You weren't expecting that, would you? Were you? Can you see how the bullish volume here? Can you see how we made a big bullish bar right there? How can you do this? Probably did that. I don't know. No. All right, so a big bar there, then a lower bar, and a lower bar, and then a lower bar. See that? And yet price was moving up. Higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. This is, if you're going, oh, hello. If you're going to learn anything from me here, Alex. Kevin, I think your alter ego joined us. If maybe you could mute either one of them, I'd appreciate it. If you're going to learn anything, Alex, and you will learn this in the course, right? This is what we call a volume divergence, right? The bulls, and they keep taking this thing to new highs, right? And the bulls are getting less and less. This is a big warning sign. And like I said, you could even argue that the bull really fell asleep here. He's trying to wake up desperately. Would have to get up above this high here to wake back up. And they tried desperately. And then, you can even see a cute little double top right there. There's a little M right there. And in essence, beautiful example of bearish divergence in volume. But the point here now is, the bulls, they fell asleep, gone. The bears had the ball. They're pretty active here. And then, like we said, well, they might be actually falling asleep too. So we'll see whether we get, lower selling volume today than this low here. Jury's still out. Point here is, if that's the case, then we have to see, can the bull wake up, right? And so what we really want to see is, higher highs on the green volume bars. And of course, the indicator crossed back above its moving average. And we're not going to quite get a Davo here, are we? So that's a little disappointing. But we could, if you get a nice W in the OBV and a W in Willie at the same time, that's a nice Davo signal. So, Alex says, don't those bars contain both buyers and sellers? Sometimes you see them changing from red to green. Absolutely. But once the bar is printed, beep, and we move on to the next candle, then the vote of that bar is solidified in time forever. And if on balance that bar was a net negative red bar, then we chalk that volume up. The bears won that bar. That's why we always we talk a lot about wicks and tails, especially if you have like a market that's trying to break down or break up. Does it make sense that these guys up here, there was somebody who bought up top here, and then the next bar, right, finished there, beep, opened up here, beep, right, new bar, they went up here. There are a whole bunch of trapped bulls right up in these wicks. And then conversely, you can make the same argument. You have to sort of see, I suppose this is not a bad example. The market was heading down, right? People were selling. They brought the candle back. They left this wick. They left this, or excuse me, tail. They left this tail. And so in essence, these are trapped bears. We know that they're in there. They were sellers, right? But the candle turned around and changed and went green. So there's a whole bunch of motivated guys there that if price ever gets back into this area, they are so going to buy back those positions. Does that make sense? So you're absolutely right. There's always a ton of information within the candle itself about bulls and bears. Anyway, all right. So long and short of it, all of this conversation was, I do understand that we are coming into key levels. I see it across the board. I actually tweeted out probably about a week ago when price was in here on OMG. And I said, I got divergence. I got Willie stupid. Now all I need is some sort of structure. Give me a W and I'll go and buy some. And it just never came in. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo, hiss, hiss, boo. And I still think the same thing here. And interesting too, look at 78.6. Can you see if we change this to a line chart? Check this out. Look how the market, if it does end up bottoming here and recapturing that 78.6 and holding this double bottom, I don't think it will, but if it does, that will basically be the W right off of that 78.6. So it's really, I always like, that's why I like to call it the line in the sand. You can really see there's a major battle going on here. But unfortunately, the W's are just not coming in yet. Lots of interesting location. Look at this NXT. I think I took a little nibble on this, off of the versus Bitcoin chart, but same sort of thing. There's the original market structure. They brought the market right back to the original lows. Nanny nibbles? I don't have a problem with that kind of trade. You can take your shot. You want to make darn sure that, and especially on nanny nibbles, they should be like 1% of your portfolio. Want to make damn sure you never have more than 5% of your portfolio at risk in any one single idea. So if you want to go throw like 1%, totally fine by me. And just let this work, right? Because you're definitely against the low end of the range. It might take a year or two for the market to actually get back up into here where you're selling halves on doubles. And Nani doesn't really care, right? She's busy playing canasta. She's at bridge club. She's in the garden, whatever. And she just wants to know that her money's working. And frankly speaking, this isn't a bad place to put a little bit of money to work, right? Definitely against the low end of the range. But do we have W's yet? No W's yet. So I can't really justify a quote unquote like trade setup where we're going to risk more than, just, little piddly amounts. In fact, little piddly amounts is basically all my trading of these days. I'll be more than happy to go in and do little piddlies against bottom ends of ranges. And I've been doing, I think I got like 3 or 4 trades off overnight, but these are very, very small trades. And all I'm doing is just, putting the nanny nibbles strategy to work. But, I think you guys have all gotten sort of my higher time frame perspective. I'm not really in a big hurry to call bottoms just yet. And as we had sort of said, reported to you recently, Julian's running sort of our hedging campaign, and he has recent short setups on his RSI models on MEX, and so he is short. And, should the market actually go and put in W's and actually show us some signs of recovery, then we can always, take those hedges off. But for the time being, I just don't see it. In fact, what I was going to suggest to you, and I still think this is pretty much working, if we go and look at things like, and I love this matrix because it keeps it nice and simple. I like to compare, how OKCoin and MEX are acting. And of course, this is the you liquidate me, I liquidate myself nonsense. And I shouldn't say nonsense. That's pretty serious. Anyway, that event. It wasn't on these other exchanges, but nonetheless, that was a catalyst, and the market pivoted and turned higher following that. They brought the market back into reload zones, interestingly, for OKCoin, and then promptly rolled her over. I have been sort of talking to you guys, in the daily briefs, sort of as we've been walking this latest leg down. We did have and you can see the bot setups, right? I think I have them all on here, right from the top. Boom, 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 boom. This is the hourly chart, and you can see there's been a few of them heading along here. I think on balance, the most recent one, ABCD, is projecting 6,200, which kind of sucks. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. It's entry level, and I actually have 1, 2, 3, and I got a nice looking little M right there. So I might even, and sort of what I posted yesterday was, price was down here, was breaking below the 25 level. So I was like, well, I'm not going to chase this. I'd like to let the market work back, and I actually posted in the lounge that I wanted to hunt in the reload zone. It looks to me, and this might be the case, that literally, no, it hasn't quite got there. I think that you're probably going to run into a lot of open orders that want to join this trade right at this level here. And there's good old Mountain Man. So I might even, before I take off for Liam, I might even sprinkle in a couple offers on OKCoin just to start getting a position going off of Mountain Man here. Maybe very, very few contracts, not a lot. And then on this sort of kind of M action up in this area, I'd like to actually join this bot trade. We got, a number of highs to risk against. So I think it's legitimate. And of course, like I said before, looking at the higher time frame, I don't know what the fundamentally bullish drivers are right now. I don't know what they are. Um, and of course, our bias, our institutional bias, you can see they're still short. If anything, the only thing that sort of gives me pause about this is we are pretty far away from the moving averages. And so I'm just wondering whether there needs to be a nice big fuck you and just wash out all these stops before the next leg. That's the only thing that's sort of giving me pause right now. But like I said in the lounge and what I said earlier today, as soon as any sort of structural failure on this 1 hour comes in on OKCoin, I think I'm going to be joining this bot. So be prepared for that. The 4 hours still has higher time frame bots working, and I thought this was really interesting through yesterday. How the bot, when it has the move stop to trailing level hit, what you want to do is sort of just listen to the market and then move stops down. And actually, this is a really good example of the 3 high low method. So at this point here, looking at this, I can justify I've got 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs. I can justify having my stop, well, actually where this line is, right in here. So I thought this was a really interesting exercise because move stop to trailing, you really want to sort of let the market tell you where to move your stops, and this violent reversal and the tweezers sort of bottom here, I would imagine it probably would have had a lot of people actually thinking bull, especially off of the fact that it was a confirmed divergence. But notice how the market rallied up and then it failed. And what was fascinating, and it was also interesting, poor old Julian, right? Because he did strap on his short through this. He was, sweating bullets as we were sort of playing around here. Would these highs be taken out? But they just weren't. Bang, bang, right? Just in your face. And frankly speaking, I was shocked when I turned on the screen. I totally thought the market was going to be above here. And they tried like twice to run the market up top, and they just couldn't get her going. You can see it here. They 2 separate attempts, and then on this failure, I was like, oh boy, this is trouble. And sure enough, baboosh, right down we go. Kind of thinking of that institutional fingerprint kind of conversation we had earlier, I think you can argue that the big boys want to defend this level. This level. Now, this is a big one, that level. And that level. So you can really see somebody just does not want, and interesting, there might even be a gap there, right? Somebody just does not want this market above this level. Every time it gets there, it gets whacked down. Now, are they setting a trap and they're going to just pop it up here to run these stops? Well, that's a trader's life, guys. I like the bot setup here, and how ironic it's sitting right on the frickin' bot level. I was hoping that they would bring it up here a little bit more so I could get a bit of a discount, but no, Hacker's gonna break it right on the goddamn bot level. But I'm not trading the MEX contract. I'm over on Julian's handling that account. I'm over on OKCoin. So actually, I do have a little bit of wiggle room here. There's the bot level, and that's basically where we are right now. But I was hoping, again, nice little uppy into here for me to short this. Jerks. All right, what did you say here? Can you draw a bot on this range as well? You have 3 lower highs or even 4. You could go here to here. And actually, I've the guys that I learned this from originally, this is how they would do it. So you could go there to there and go bot setup. So no less than 33, no more than 66. And then take that and start hunting like that. And so now what you'd love is a nice little 3 highs, 1, 2, 3, and away you go. So that kind of sneaks you in a little bit, especially if you're working with a higher time frame chart and the trade is really big and you're like, oh crap, how the hell am I going to take that kind of risk? Well, this is an efficient way to try and break that trade down. Now you've got sort of your risk parameter. If this sets up a nice little top up here, you have your entry and your stop. And of course, if we do start hitting these objectives here, that means that this bigger trade is active. And you could take a little bit of profit here if you wanted to, or you could just go, well, I wanted to get in off of that. I got my structure to trigger me, and it gave me a relatively small risk window. And now I'm going to play this bigger move with that trade. That kind of, is that what you were sort of talking about? I don't know. It's something new. I don't think I talked to many, showed too many people that before. What do you say here? You already showed it, so it's all depending on which time frame you're trading. Absolutely, right? And yet that, we define that. In fact, I heard Grim talking to you guys about that this morning, right? Where you define all of that in your sort of strategic vision. I am a day trader. I love coffee at 3 in the morning. I don't sleep. When I do sleep, I catch naps here and there. I've got 20 different alert systems on my cell phones, on my wristwatch, on my pacemaker. I sleep with one eye open. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. But you better define that ahead of time. And the worst part about being a day trader in crypto is, oh, look at that. Oh, interesting. The worst part about crypto is that it is 24/7. And do you think those Chinese, I've seen on Christmas Day, the Chinese drive the market lower just to piss the fucking whitey off. I've been in this space too long. I've seen it. I've literally watched the screen 24/7 for the past 4 years. And if it's one thing you can absolutely depend on is Bitcoin. If you are a day trader of Bitcoin will give you its signals at exactly the worst possible time of your day. Usually it comes at about 2 or 3 in the morning for me. Yeah, well, that's midnight. Yeah, exactly. It's 3 o'clock Eastern time for London kill zone. So, and it's a trader's life. When I was a prop trader, I had to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. What a fucking shitty life. Who wants to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day? I mean, I'm not a damn dairy farmer. So anyway, the point of the matter here is you definitely have to vet that out in your trading plan and define all of that ahead of time. And that's basically what you're going to be doing over the next few weeks, Alex, is we're going to try and figure out exactly who you are, where you want to go, why you're doing this, what motivates you, right? And we want to articulate that, and we want to see you doing exactly what you say you as a person are. So if you're a little old lady, then great, be a little old lady. You can go have a life. I get, it's funny. I used to have like, there's guys, they like to take a bit of risk, and it's okay to call them up and say, hey, this trade idea didn't work. We're going to have to hop, risk management, take 50% loss. That's like Joe Sixpack. But I know a lot of people that, young people, old people that are just like, Brian, I just want to have my money working. I don't want to have to be stressing about it 24/7. Is there a way to do that? And that's what we call our sort of little old lady approach to risk management. It lets her play canasta, right? It lets her, work in the garden. And the worst thing, you never want to call that lady and tell her that she is going to get stopped out. and she's going to have to book a loss. You don't want to do that. I can tell you. She would be happier to hear that, well, we invested our money and the company went under and we tried, right? But they went into bankruptcy. They just ran out of money. She would much rather hear that than hear, and I know that sounds odd, but this is like 10, 15 years as a broker. She'd much rather hear that than, oh, well, we got stopped out. We had to book a loss of $1,000 in your account. Yeah, the company might do well, it might not, but that's a loss. It's booked. The story's over. That's the kind of thing that just pisses her off to no end. That and being disturbed in the middle of Canasta. Okay, let's go back to our story here. So I think we sort of talked about Bitcoin, sort of what my expectations are. I think, if anything, we just got to cool our jets, play it close to the vest. You can see Ethereum's looking awfully heavy here. I wonder if Ethereum is still under that. Is Ethereum a security? Is it a token? Whatever that conversation was. We do like to follow. It's on this chart. Sort of I like to have the Ethereum Bitcoin sort of spread as just really, we've watched this chart for a while. About a week or two ago, I put out a tweet just saying, we're not really in a great buying zone and we're not really in a great selling zone. We're sort of stuck in no man's land here. This would be your selling zone. This would be your buying zone. And we're just sort of sitting in here in no man's land. You can see how the market, it appears it's working its way back down against trendline support. And, on balance, if we look at, probably things like if this chart looks like this, if we look at things like Benjamin's altcoin index, it probably doesn't look too happy either. Yeah, here we can see them. So, is this hey, let's all, get ready to go buy our Lambos kind of market? I don't think so. I think we got to just sort of play it cool. Now, the good part about this is that I do believe this is a coin picker's market. And what I see is most of these sort of, especially like Ethereum, it's sort of stuck in no man's land right now still. But a lot of these coins have actually come down and worked their way back into potential buying locations. I remember we had our long conversation about Litecoin. Even our big hairy ones, ADA, has come right back down to the original double bottom here. So I think, I don't think Ethereum's one of them, but I definitely think that this is a coin picker's market. And I was showing you earlier, and I think actually I just got filled on something. Yeah, here. Holy shit, look at that. I mean, I hope you guys can appreciate that. Can you see the W in OBV here? And this big volume spike? Somebody's coming in on the buy side pretty hard here. Alex, have you ever heard me talk about reload zone before? That was me. What was you? Buying. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Well, I think I saw that I just got filled on this. Because I saw this morning, and yeah. I was very interested in, where are we here? Orders. Yeah, there it is. 806. So I just got filled. I saw the line in the sand here, and I was like, oh, fuck it, man. I want to add to that position. I just went and bought 0.048 BTC worth of this right off this level. Brian and his big spender. So, all I need is a pop up into this area here to get a double. I think that's doable. What do you think? Is that even remotely realistic over the next? And here's the kick in the pants. I mean, this is what always makes me laugh. Is, let's say this trade takes 6 months to play out. So what is it? It's the end of May, so June, July, August, September, October, November, December, right? Maybe we have a nice little November, December rally. And, let's say over the interim, Bitcoin goes down to 4,000, 5,000. Maybe then it goes up to 12,000. And gee whiz, we're sitting at about 7,000, 8,000 at the end of the year. Who knows? Is it actually unrealistic to think that, number one, I could get a pop over the next 6 months into this area, right? 200 SMA. But even maybe, you see June, July, August. I mean, maybe last year was a little bit of an anomaly because it was just so crazy. But, I don't know. Let's maybe just to be really conservative, we'll say a 50% roll. So 50% of that high is way up there. And that, I don't recommend it. If you want to sell half on a double and just get your money back, okay, that's fine. And then maybe look to sell the whole damn rest of it. I know lots of people that do that, but even if you sell another half on a double here, then you've got yourself 200% return. Is that realistic? A test of this high here at some point over the next, say, 6 months, 8 months, even a year. Is that realistic? And would anybody in the classic stock market like those kind of returns? Is that even realistic? Right? I mean, it's almost funny. We just had it happen. Perfect example. I mean, don't think that this is just exclusive to crypto. Here was a stock that we did exactly the same sort of thing back $2.50 right in this area here. We just took our same sort of logic, just buying against, bottoms, and boom. Just be patient and disciplined, and we just doubled our money. So is it realistic for this idea here to jump up, 50% levels right there? I think it's completely realistic. And actually, I just went and bought some. Look at this beautiful little Willie. Look at this beautiful little Willie. Oh, we lost Garrett. So anyway, I just did that today. I also bought a little BRK. You see the logic? Does it make sense? Willie stupid. Right against the bottom end of the range. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Just work my bid right in against this big old tail here. We put how much into that? 0.049 into that. Let's see, what else did we buy? STRAT. I'm a little disappointed in this one, but I did a couple bids here. So we just got filled on a bid today. When I looked at it first blush, I was like, gee whiz, why did I buy that? But if you notice, there was a nice double bottom that formed off of this level here. So to sort of start our buying, I said, all right, I'll go ahead and, pick some up off of this level. Now you can see this looks like it's for a nasty head and shoulders pattern. So I might have been a bit early on this one, folks. Sort of see it looks like this, eh? So I don't know what's going to happen here. We might have to dip right down against these, but I also have another bid working on this one. Actually, I'm a bit surprised because I thought I did the whole write-up. Maybe that thing. Yeah. No, thought I did. Anyway, so I have that bid. And then I also have another bid right off of the lows. Boom. Right down in here against this tail. So did a little bit of buying here and want to do a little bit more buying here. We'll see how that goes. And, the bottom line here is do I think that there's money to be made in this one? Uh, this is on Binance. That's probably why I don't have all the chart right up on it. Let's see. Tricks. Hey, there we go. Ah, I knew I did all the damn write up. Yeah, you can. I mean, this is definitely not a pound the table. We've got a nasty bear div working on MACD, and it broke. So this thing, if anything, now we might have a potential bullish MACD forming, but it's only potential right now. We got a nasty M working on here. So the only thing going for this is trade location. The only thing at all, and that's why, number one, this is all just very nibbly nibbles. And as I said, I've actually got two bids working. So in a weird sort of way, I'm actually looking for more downside pressure because I want to get filled also, obviously, on this one. If I bought this, I would like to get filled here. So that brings my average down into this area here. So just an FYI, if you look on the crypto page, you'll see that trade. And the internals, you're absolutely right. They look pretty suspect. What else did we buy? We had 3 bids because I wanted to get this one. We didn't have any of this on the books, but I put in just like minuscule bids, 0.025. And we got our final bid filled here on this core. So our average is probably somewhere right around this area, which is fine. Reload zone within reload zone. I'm perfectly happy with that. And I think there's some upside potential here heading into the spring. Look at that freaking OBV. Holy Jesus, guys. I swear. Somebody write a course on this shit. You want to make money? Go buy some of this goddamn core. Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, this thing is just being accumulated. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I had to have some of it on the books. And you can see where the 50% rule is, actually, and that's even a bit, probably somewhere there, right? Right up in there. There is money to be. We're starting to get back into this this market, and I remember we've done this a few times now. We last October, I remember we were doing daily briefs, and I was like, you could probably put 20, 30 names on, totally random, and you're probably going to make money. And then I remember in like February, we got into the same scenario. And I said, probably grab 20 or 30 different names, and some of them popped really hard, eh? I'm feeling we're getting back into that kind of environment again. It's probably not for like a week or two, but I'm feeling like it's coming. So that's good. All right, so that gives you, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different names I bought today. You can't tell me I'm not giving you ideas. Okay, let's finish off today. We'll look at some of the stuff you want to look at. Raf, you're only allowed to do one. Mind you, that Crave, we'll chop that up to Andrew. Andrew had posted this in the lounge yesterday. I got to say, it's a good-looking chart. Trading on Cryptopia and Yobit, so no Trex action here. Because it is Cryptopia, don't chase. You got to work your bids. And if you miss the trade, you miss the trade. Shit happens. You can definitely see the double bottoms down in here. It looks like the original one is definitely off of sort of like that area there, right? And notice there is a juicy gap right there. So really, if you wanted to join this party, I would throw my bid in somewhere down in this area. So that's like 25.18. I do like the trend in OBV. It looks very sexy. So the kids are buying this thing. I don't really have any powerful momentum signal. It kind of looks like it's just sort of because it's relatively new on the exchange. It's still sort of establishing in a momentum push. Down in here, this is probably where the smart money was really concentrating. And if you can build like a screen that just shows you, willies that give you a double bottom and a moving average breakout at the same time. And it looks like you also had an OBV double bottom there, eh? Interesting OBV study. You don't often see that, but nonetheless, nice W, nice W. So you can see the powerful Davo signal right there. And up she goes. That is from 21. So those guys, they're probably looking to take profits up in this area. Again, I don't think it's a good idea to chase this, guys. You just got to be patient, work your bids down in this area, and if she pulls back, great, you get it. If not, well, you missed the boat. So I'll recuse myself on you, Raph. CSETH on Qcoin. Does TradingView care follow those Qcoins? I don't see anything there. CS. Guess we're gonna have to go over here, right? That's this one. CSETH. That's cute. There's nothing wrong with that. Kind of, this is the kind of idea when somebody comes to me and they sort of, they want me to pound the table that it's a buy. I don't know whether I can do that or not. You can see the original double bottom right there. So, if there was a level to be a buyer off of, it makes complete sense why the market sort of pivoted repeatedly off of this level. Clearly, that is the level. I suppose you could argue, we were doing this earlier off of Bitcoin. You do the same thing off of this, right? The institutional fingerprint is right there to there. So whoever put the bottom in, they don't really want it to go back down into here. They'll step in and they'll defend it. Look at this one too, eh? Very powerful there. So if you're going to buy here, basically you're just going to be riding these guys' coattails. Whoever these people are, that's basically who's driving the bus. So I always like the idea you can get yourself into a name at the levels that the insiders or whoever it is that basically put the floor in this thing. Somebody stop this down. Nice divergence too there. Willie was stupid, not so stupid now. Kind of momentum. What I see is just drifty, right? It's sort of, it's kind of, I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So, I mean, I don't know what the story is. Is this a token that actually has any intrinsic value at all? How do they derive value of this thing? That's always a tough question. There's only 5 million out, and it has a total market cap of $1,700. Okay, well, I mean, basically that it would make sense now. Why that's wrong? Okay, fair enough. I'm not quite sure what it is I'm looking at there. All right, James, do you know the story of this thing? You got a microphone? Hey, oh, there's Payman. Hey, Payman. Do you know the story of this thing? Kevin's coin. Payman says yes. All right, Payman, do you have a microphone? What's on your mind, Chief? No pressure, no pressure. 1 second. 1 Mississippi. Okay. 2 Mississippi. All right, just yell at me when you get a microphone. Oh, there you go. Oh, he's going to sing. I heard something.
Let's see. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, there he is. Hey, Chief. How you doing?
Oh, how's it going, Brian?
Always better when I see you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, dude. It's been a bit busy lately, so but trying to get in as I can.
Mm-hmm. So you know what the fundamental story is here?
Well, I'm not that how to say good at it, but I think it's credits you guys talking about.
CS slash ETH.
Yeah, I saw that you were looking at the KuCoin, and the only CS I know there is credits, so it should be that one.
It says CS is credits.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the ICO, so I have kind of an idea of it. So it's been
This looks like a train wreck here.
well, it's been holding the levels pretty well though, even though it hasn't done much.
What when I pull this up by default, does it? Oh, this is in BTC. Ah, okay.
You can choose at the bottom the Ethereum price if you want.
Yeah. Oh, I see. And then this one's ETH down here. Price.
And press the ETH, you're gonna see another one pop up. Just press that one, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go, yeah.
Okay. I don't like seeing those M's all in your face. That's not very happy. So I guess that's what that is there, right? Yeah. All right. So, what's the limited story?
The brief fundamental story is basically another blockchain product that claims to be able to do a very high amount of transactions per second. I'm not exactly sure, but I think they got up to 400 transactions per second, which was pretty special at the moment, considering Ethereum and Bitcoin are very limited. And the group of supporters are pretty dedicated. It's if I'm not mistaken, I think it's another Russian story, but it's decent. I mean, the tech is not that bad, but they still have a bit to go. And there was some. The latest pump was because of OKEX listing, which was confirmed. I don't think it's listed there yet, but it's going to happen anytime soon. So the volume should spike up a bit after it's been listed on OKCoin.
Ah, okay. All right, makes sense. Yeah, I don't have accounts over in this is Korea, isn't it?
KuCoin, not sure to be honest. I think so.
I think it's Korea. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that.
No problem, sir. But when it goes to the numbers that Koinichi gave you, those are way off. As far as I know, the market is around 80 million-ish, and
It says here, yeah, 77 million on Coin Market Cap.
yeah, and I think the total supply is like it was well over 200. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So what you got on Coin?
250,000. I guess what would this be like a POW, and that's how much has been issued so far?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, chart wise, good old Brian. I wouldn't have a problem if you took a nibble off here. Probably pound the table if we get up through here, because that'll probably confirm like one of our LJ setups, right? I don't know whether we go off of there or not. Yeah, something like, oh yeah, there you go. So you can see that it's, what this reminds me of is that ADA. It did the same thing. So the way I would think I would define this is value trade is down here. And your momentum trade, I think, is actually just going to be a move above that high right there on the other side of this trend line. So, interesting idea. Thank you very much, whoever asked for it, and thank you very much, Payman, for your 2 cents.
No problem. I'm going to disconnect now.
Yeah, are there any coins that captured your attention right now?
Well, the one I'm looking at the most lately is EOS, since they have a very big fundamental event coming up these coming days, in 3 days or so. They're going to launch. So that to me is pretty interesting to see whether they manage to successfully launch or not. But that's
what was the symbol? Sorry.
EOS.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's like one of the popular ones, though, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big day for them now next week. So It's gonna be interesting to see if they
What exchange do you prefer to watch these guys off of?
I usually look at them at Bitfinex. They have
You look at it in Bitcoin terms, US dollar terms?
both. So
Well, at least they've taken the fluff out of this a bit. That's encouraging.
yeah, I had a nice run just as the news about the launch started to really hit the media about a month ago, and then it just sunk down until what was it, a few days back when it got a little bit.
Yeah, I remember I was I don't think you were here, but Alex, I was like, I always like to pick on somebody. And I was pointing out to him the volume divergence on the name that we were looking at. So when you see this payment, run for the hills. You can totally see when the end of the move came, right there.
Yeah, the volume impetus there is powerful.
Oh, and look at Willie was nice and stupid. So do we dare dream a little dream? So it looks like Mountain Man stopped this thing. Yeah. All right, so you're keeping an eye on that bad boy, are you?
Yeah, well, mostly out of an FA perspective, to be honest, because if they have a successful launch, it would be a viable competitor to Ethereum. So it's going to be interesting to see how the community takes that.
Oh.
So it's not really out of a trading perspective. Now that Bitcoin is so sluggish, I haven't really seen any coins that managed to withhold the bearish sentiment, so to say.
Yeah, you can see they're just taking the fluff out of the space, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and Ralph had asked for Craves, so I think didn't we do it right up? Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh my goodness, that's what it looks like. Oh, interesting. What do you think of this crazy one? Would you take a shot on this thing? I didn't realize it had come down so far. Wow. You know anything about this crazy name? Crave?
No idea, to be honest. Many Cryptopia coins I don't even keep track of.
Snob.
Well, there's only that many of them, it takes time.
That on there, I could, that one reminds me of ZCL from last year.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. Kind of reminds me of the Z Classic Rage Quit.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. We got James asked for FOTA ETH on KuCoin. Jeez. James, have they corrupted you too? Jeez, I thought you were one of the pure ones. Photo on KuCoin. That's here. Do you have an account over here now, James? Oh, look at that chart. Son of a bitch. Rage quit setups. The dark side was too strong. That's a good looking chart. Damn. You know anything about these guys, Bayman?
No.
Yeah, well, what I will call this one is a stone cold honky.
There's so many new coins coming out every day. It's kind of hard to keep track of this field anymore.
Yeah, so the supply of them still coming, eh? That's a good looking chart. So I think, it's awfully tough to justify chasing in here. Wherever the ultimate rally peak is, I think you can draw reload zones and get bids working in here. And I get the feeling like this KuCoin is very similar to sort of the love affair people had with Binance. I noticed that love affair is worn off. I wonder if this is sort of the flavor of the month exchange. I don't know. But there's some money to be made on that name. I definitely like being long from, I don't know, I can't even read that. What does that say? About 600 or so? We're in that area. Yeah, good looking charts. Okay.
When it comes to fundamental events, I could just quickly mention ETC has a big one coming with the fork, and then Tron has another mainnet release next month, and then Ontology. those
Yeah,
two.
but I can't load the charts that fast. So hold on a second. There. All right. So ETC, we noticed that ETC was coming right back down against the bottom end of his range. ETC. Yeah. So this is almost a carbon copy of the Litecoin trade, right? The only difference is Litecoin did hold their March low or February lows. This guy didn't. But you can sort of see, right? We're back down in that area. You get a nice move above here, and you say there's a fundamental driver coming up here. So it looks to me like if the market can get back above that doji high there, that's probably not a bad little trade just to risk against this bottom range. So that's definitely something to chew on. Thank you, Payman. I appreciate that. What was the next one?
You can take Tronics, TRX. I think
I don't think I have any of this one yet. TRX on they're on Bittrex, aren't they? Yeah,
Binance has the best volume there.
Binance.
Works as well. Either.
Oh, this is so expensive. Oh, I can't touch this. No, couldn't even look at it.
Yeah, I think you can see better chart on Binance. It's pretty recently listed on Bittrex. So
RX was it?
Yeah.
Binance. There it is. Oh yeah, okay. That's a little. It's a little better, not much. No, yuck. And that's the problem with heading into fundamental driver stories, right? Is that usually whatever potentially could happen, it's being priced into the asset now, right? And then, of course, if all hell breaks loose and people are just like, "Oh my God, this is the next best thing since sliced bread,"
yeah, I mean, this is one
pop it up through the top here,
right? Me, this is one of those things I don't really believe in, but a lot of people are excited about it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, to me, horrible trade location.
Yeah, I would never get in there.
Well, right,
yeah, handle, but I can't really see that.
And then, was there one more that you had on your list?
Yeah, ONT.
ONT. Oh, this one is on Binance, isn't it?
Yeah, this one. The chart is
ugly. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you might be able to bot your way through this. It wouldn't surprise me if that's a 25 level here, but oh God, this is risky stuff.
Well, in my opinion, it looks like they're setting up for settler news events, so I will be careful.
Maybe you know where'd all the buyers go? Right? This is just nothing here.
Exactly.
A little dangerous. Yeah, unfortunately, we're just not quite into rah face rip, everything goes up kind of market just yet. All right, we gave you Crave, and we looked at BTC Gold the other day, Raf. So maybe go and watch that on Friday. We looked at CS for Kevin. We looked at Crave. We looked at Fota. Actually, you know, I got to say, out of all of the ones that we did there, this is one damn good looking little name. Work bids, don't chase. But very sexy. So thank you very much for requesting. I'm always learning about new names. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. I've been talking for, I don't know, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll be back in the saddle first thing tomorrow morning and take a look at the book. All right. Have yourselves a great afternoon, everybody. I'm off to Liam soon. Toodaloo. Bye.